heads and 4 long blue arms.
The Loch Ness Monster.
From outer space.
Eddie just wants to massacre him.
Go on out there and kill them. Wipe them out. All of them. To the very last man. Violence. Brutality.
Trick-or-treaters are all dead. Isn't it beautiful? Take a walk in the cemetery. Get eaten up by cannibals.
Celebrate Halloween.
Love and kisses, Penny baby.
What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.
Hey, Ballbusters. Bates here with your friend and mine, Ray Mungus. And we have such sights to show you in episode 11 of Way of Life Live. How you doing tonight, Ray?
I am here. I made it. That's about it. How are you?
I guess I'm alright. As fine as I guess I can be. Though this week was it's got quite a bit of, not a whole lot of crazy news, but lots of little bits this week, huh?
Yeah, it's like we had a drought for 2 weeks there during the holidays, and it seems like we're slowly getting the vehicle moving again. But quite a few little things going on. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, no, it was weird. It was just in the last couple days, just all these little, like, and good little news bits too. You guys might have noticed that a different song was playing before we went live. That would be a new cover of the Monsters theme by a band called Scum of the Earth. I just wrote an article about the song and a little bit about the band. The band has been around since 2003. If any of you guys liked listening, like, old school White Zombie and real early Rob Zombie stuff, go check out Scum of the Earth, because it kind of carries on that classic zombie sound through Rob Zombie's ex-guitarist Riggs, who does guitars and vocals for this band. So yeah, definitely gonna give those guys a shout out. It's an amazing cover. I've listened to it like 40 plus times in the last couple days. So yeah, definitely check those guys out.
And for the people that are not watching this live, I definitely recommend going to YouTube and giving it a listen, because I generally cut out the intros so we don't get slapped on the wrist for copyright infringement. So look it up. Scum of the Earth, the Monsters theme. It's well worth listening to.
Well, cutting out the pre-stream for once the liveness is over, I guess so to say, is fine. But you don't have to worry about getting hit with any copyright claims, because the music I play in the pre-stream is pretty much all license free.
Makes sense. Well, in any case, you want to listen to it, give it a listen.
And the copyright claims right now, isn't going to hurt us because they're not strikes, they're just claims, which means they throw ads up on the videos and they get money for them. We don't. But we're not going to make money on this channel for quite a long time, if ever, at this point. So,
Well, we're the optimists tonight.
there's a thin line between optimist and realist.
That's true. I just wanted to announce that episode 11 is our final episode. We're never doing this again because of Captain Pessimist over there.
Hey, listen, I'm working on getting us a sponsorship, all right?
Really? Is it Yankee Candle?
It is. If you guys can see this, if anybody is watching right now, anybody is watching, there is a Yankee Candle lit right here, baby. Cinnamon. It smells delicious. Yankee Candle.
Oh man, I have a feeling we're gonna lose subscribers because people are gonna think that we're just like Yankee Candle shills.
Well, fuck them. I don't want them then. If they're not,
I want
down,
Yankee Candle. That's what I'm saying. I want the Yankee Candle money.
If they're not down with Yankee Candle, they can't handle us saying Yankee Candle 35 times an episode. Fuck them. I don't want them here.
Oh, we're in rare form tonight.
Oh.
I was kidding about this being the last episode, especially if Yankee Candle supports us and pays for our episodes. We'll do this forever. We'll do like 1,111 episodes.
What I'm thinking about right now is when we get up to that like milestone episode, like episode 50, and maybe we have more of a listener and subscriber base, and then maybe some new people come in at episode 50, and we're sitting here plugging Yankee Candle, and they don't know why the fuck we're plugging them.
Honestly, that's like listening to Stern for the first time ever in 2017, and you're like, wait, I don't get half of these inside jokes. Like that have been going on for like 30 years. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Hopefully by episode 50 we'll have an actual sponsorship, so who gives a shit if they get the inside joke or not? As long as they buy Yankee Candle, we're good to go.
Well, if we have, we're already kind of sponsored by our own website, I guess you could say.
I don't know about that. I mean, they don't pay us. I think we should hold a strike tomorrow, and wait, we've been kind of holding a strike the last couple weeks with our news output.
Well, you know what?
I wish Chris was listening to this right now.
You know what? We still need to get like a little ticker or something in the corner of the website to show that the podcast is live for us, and they need to put more promotion on the website for our podcast. And
the podcast promotion's been mostly on me because I've been really fucking lazy about doing images. I have to go through and make individual images for each episode, and that's time consuming, especially when you got like MMOs to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We also have to kind of hammer down when we're doing the next live movie commentary.
Yeah, like we've been talking about doing that for like the last few weeks. Actually, we were supposed to do one on, if I remember correctly, on the week of Christmas. And, like the 6 or 7 of us in the chat, like we're very dedicated to keeping a schedule. So, needless to say, we need to finally get those details ironed out and plan it.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow we'll light a fire under everyone's ass in the chat, try to figure out what's going on with that.
Yeah, I mean, we have a ton of stuff to do. I'm hoping that we could just like start making progress with it. There's so many ideas and things we want to get into motion for January, February, and March, and it feels like we're at the base of Everest, just looking at the top, or trying to look through the clouds to get to the top, and it's like, where do you even begin,
Yeah, I mean, especially with March, it wasn't going to be the first topic of discussion, but I'm just going to segue into it. With March comes Monster Mania for us, and now with our website and obviously this podcast, Monster Mania has become more than just We're going to go there. We're going to spend money. We're going to order food. We're going to drink our asses off and watch movies all night. It's kind of become a little bit more than that now. Now we kind of have to be a little bit more proactive. We need to kind of really cover things more. I have to record more footage. There's a lot more for us going on now with Monster Mania. And especially with this Monster Mania coming up, this is one of the biggest and best shows Dave over at Monster Mania has put together. Not to say that he doesn't always put together a great show. It's just that this show just seems to be above some of the past ones. With all,
sorry to cut you off, but recently, like, I found myself saying that more times than not. Like, more often than not. I've been saying, I'd look at, like, last August's Monster Mania convention, and I was like, wow, this has to be Dave's best show to date. And then you get there and you have a blast and everything, and you're like, wow, how the hell is he going to top this? And then he does. It just seems to be a continuing theme. And I think I've been going since 2004, and I cannot believe how crazy this lineup is. Continue.
No, it's exactly that's with all of these in costume photo ops rather that we're getting, and we're up to, I don't know, 5, 6, we're up to 7 different actors in movie costume for photo ops. And we just learned that Tony Todd is going to be doing photo ops in Candyman costume all 3 days, which is very, very rare. Normally these photo ops for in-costume actors is only typically on Saturdays. So that was a cool piece of news. Then we also got a new guest announcement, and no one saw this coming. I know that he had been doing conventions lately because he's been doing much better health-wise, but I didn't think Dave was going to be able to snag him. But we are getting the legend himself, Tim Curry. He is going to be at Monster Mania. And it's very, very exciting for the people who can actually, sadly, afford to meet him. It is not cheap.
Oh yeah, definitely not. I mean, I've come to realize over the past few years that conventions are slowly pulling away from my wallet. Not to say I don't like going to them or anything like that, but the stars that appear at these things, they have to roll with the times. They have to try to keep up with what the hugest stars are getting when it comes to like autograph costs and picture opportunities and such like that. And for a legend like Tim Curry, this situation is basically what you would expect from somebody like that. But the fact that he is appearing is, my jaw hit the floor when I saw the news.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a really nice surprise, and it's just like how can this cake get any sweeter? Well, just earlier tonight,
breaking news.
Well, yeah, sort of. He didn't announce who it is, but he said he had some more big guest announcements for next week.
Wow, like, how many more big guests is this guy gonna get? Like, I know we shouldn't be complaining, but like, it's relentless. It's in such a good way too.
Yeah, I can't even imagine right now. I mean, we got almost the entire cast from It, the new It, plus Pennywise from the old It, John Carpenter. Almost every single actor that played Jason who's still alive in costume, Candyman in costume, Captain Spaulding in costume. The only thing I'm thinking of,
I have a prediction too.
Bill Moseley, Chop Top costume. Or Bill Moseley, cool. Or because Captain Spaulding's going to be there, Bill Moseley, and Otis costume.
I see your Otis, and I raise you, Bill Skarsgård in Pennywise costume.
All right, now that is definitely a possibility, but I think the Bill Moseley is way more believable.
True, but would Dave consider him a big guest announcement? Because Bill Moseley is almost like he has like a spot. Like he always has a home in Monster Mania if he wants to
permanent residency.
Yeah, like a residency. A big guest name announcement to me would be somebody like the new Pennywise. Especially with most of the cast being involved in being there. And imagine like the panel alone, or the photo opportunity alone of the two Pennywises together.
It's just
like my mind's blowing just like thinking about that possibility. Even if they're not in costume, just standing next to each other. I don't even have to be in the picture. I just want to see it.
I just want to listen to it and just make sure I can have my camera set up, and happy that I have my new microphone to record all that really nice.
See, this is why we get things done, because you think of the technical aspect, and me, I just go full-on fanboy.
So, I'm saying it's going to be Bill Moseley, probably in Otis costume, to complement Sid Haig in Spaulding costume.
All right, well, let's keep a track on this, because the next guest announcements we're going to definitely be reporting here. So let's keep track on this and see who's right. Just a friendly bet.
Sure. So, yeah, so we're getting Tim Curry, and as I said, he recently, not too long ago, had a massive stroke, and it really put him out for a while. I mean, he's still in a wheelchair. He's probably never getting out of that wheelchair. But he had all kinds of problems talking. I saw video from him from a convention, I believe in Canada in September, and he did a full hour panel and was talking a little slower, but you could understand everything he was saying. He was very, very receptive. I'm not sure he's able to laugh anymore, which is kind of weird, because I didn't even see him crack a smile, which was very peculiar. But
yeah, I mean, the situation they went through is serious, and like when the guest was announced, I saw quite a few people shocked that it was announced, because a lot of people had thought he had passed away because of the stroke, because of how serious it was. So I mean, thankfully he's still with us, and thankfully he's well enough to be willing to come out and meet people and just enjoy the atmosphere of the convention scene.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be... Who do you think's going to have a longer line, Curry or Carpenter?
From what I understand, the only way to meet Tim Curry is through the photo ops. Because
he can't do signing. He can't sign anymore.
He's not going to be doing the signings in person. He has a lot of pre-signed stuff that he does, based off of how he's feeling and things like that at home. So from what I've read, his table is just going to have a handler there. He's not going to be actually at his table. He's going to be doing the photo op and obviously appearing there, and that's where you could sort of meet and greet him a little bit.
I forgot about that. That's how he was doing it when he was at Chiller Theater about a year ago. He wasn't doing like signings. He was just doing the photo ops, which I believe are running about $100.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know for sure if I read this correctly. I could be wrong, but I think the signatures are even like stamps, because he's not able to do it, which is kind of a bummer. But just the idea of being able to meet him in that capacity is it's unbelievable. If I'm wrong about the signatures, forgive me, and feel free to drop a comment to clarify, and we'll adjust it in the next episode.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember how it went when he was at Chiller, because obviously I didn't go.
Yeah, what I've read is they have a table with pre-signed things, 8x10s and such that you could buy at the convention. And if you want a personal item signed, they collect it and they have it signed elsewhere and mailed back to you. Like, they have a whole setup for that, like a team in place that covers all that.
Pretty cool. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, we're still getting Tim Curry. So, who cares?
I completely agreed. And the fact that he's in better health these days, and horror royalty is coming to our town, I mean, you can't ask for better.
Yeah, I mean, even if you weren't a fan of the It miniseries in the 90s, which I happen to think was garbage, though he was amazing in it. My favorite Tim Curry movie has always been Clue. Absolutely love Clue. Growing up as a kid, it was always on Comedy Central, and I would always watch it. It was one of my favorite movies to watch.
One of my favorite Tim Curry performances is obviously Pennywise, but the one that I grew up on that I really, really adore is the Lord of Darkness and Legend.
Yeah, definitely.
It's I grew up on that movie. I don't remember what year it came out, but just that was like probably one of my earliest visions of like a monster. Like something that truly like sent chills down my spine as a kid. And like looking back at it, it was such a special movie for me. And he's just one of those actors that he's completely lost in the role, no matter what no matter what character he's portraying.
Yeah, Legend is a great movie simply because Tim Curry is in it in just like amazing form. But what makes Legend even better is that fucking Billy Barty is in it.
Agreed.
I'm just a big Billy Barty fan, and for anybody who's listening who happens to also listen to Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal podcast, they mention Billy Barty quite often because there's a famous story that Gilbert always tells on almost every episode about how Billy Barty stole a role from him.
Oh my god.
So that makes me love Billy Barty even more, just because he stole a role from Gilbert Gottfried. I love Gilbert. I haven't met him yet. I really, and he does Chiller Theater all the time, and I'm like, I can't buy a ticket to Chiller Theater just to go meet Gilbert, and probably Frank. I'm sure Frank is there as well.
You know what we need to do? We need to buy the pre-show tickets. When I went to go meet Tora Satana at Chiller Theater, I bought the pre-show ticket, and it was like having a toy store all to yourself. No lines, no annoying people. You just kind of like floated around, walked up to tables that were completely empty, met who you wanted, and like as the plebes are coming in, as like the peasants are coming in, you're on your way out, ready to go home.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll maybe I'll shoot Frank a message on Twitter. He actually typically answers me, because they read my tweets a lot on the mini episodes, and actually one of my tweets got featured in a main episode once.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm probably one of the few, if not one of the only people who had one of their tweets read aloud in a main episode. But to my credit, I was ripping on Paul Rayburn, who they rip on every episode, so I kind of cheated there. But maybe I'll shoot him a message and tell him, him and Gilbert should look into contacting Dave and maybe getting on the docket over at on the itinerary for Monster Mania. They would fit right in there.
I couldn't agree more. And plus, that would be a shoo-in for a great Saturday night panel. Imagine just like an hour of Gilbert. How do you go wrong?
Yeah, when you think about some of the guests that Monster Mania has had before, they've done. They've had a couple people from Revenge of the Nerds, all of whom I've met, and I've had them all sign my original Revenge of the Nerds poster, and they've done a Revenge of the Nerds panel. It was honestly one of my favorite panels. It was so much fun. Just a great panel. So, maybe if I remember, maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Maybe I'll fucking shoot Gil and Frank a message and tell them to look into it.
Yeah, and contact Dave as well. I mean, because it'd be an awesome connection if you were able to get them together.
Yeah, and it would just be another notch on my belt for people I've actually gotten at a convention. So that would be kind of cool too.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Plus, it would probably give them a chance to mingle around and talk to some people who they might want to get for the podcast. I mean, I could see them bringing John Carpenter in.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it might not be as old school as Gilbert Gottfried's used to. Like, I mean, that's probably why he goes to Chiller to begin with, because some of those guys I have to look up on IMDb because I'm completely unfamiliar. But Gilbert has such a vast knowledge of like old school Hollywood that that's probably his Toy Story. The Chiller Theater. But this is a step up. Monster Mania is a little bit of a step up and has guests that he might not feel that he could reach out to, or guests that he normally wouldn't try to bring on. But I'm sure that they have their own great stories all the same.
Oh, without a doubt. And I mean, I could even see Tim Curry doing like a Skype call with him for an episode. I mean, Tim Curry would be an amazing guest. An absolutely amazing guest. Even Tony Todd. Tony Todd has been around long enough, and he's been in enough movies. And
oh yeah, and Tony Todd's really interesting to like listen to the way he acts and the stories that he brings from the sets. Like I've heard him on the Movie Crypt podcast with Adam Green and Joe Lynch, and some of the stories that he's told and the amount of effort and craft he puts into his work, of like becoming the characters that he plays, it's like you take it for granted. It's way more than you would have ever thought.
Oh yeah, it's like I always think about this would be kind of a good guest for Gilbert on his podcast, even though he's not as old as they're used to. But then I go back and I think about it, and I'm like, what the fuck am I talking about? They fucking did an episode with Sven Gooley. All right, they can fucking they can manage John Carpenter and Tim Curry.
Yeah, but the thing is that we have to realize is time is flying by faster than anything, and some of these guys that we don't consider quote unquote that old are that old. Like, I mean, Tony Todd's been around the block a few times.
Yeah, well, but I think somebody did the math, and I think Gilbert's average guest age is like 87.
Oh man, yeah, I guess these are spring chickens in comparison.
Yeah. All right, so let's get on with it. So we got Tim Curry, Monster Mania. We were gonna have some. Hopefully, Dave will announce the new guest next, either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Hopefully, normally he does it Thursday though, so we may not be able to cover the next guest announcements on next week's episode, but we'll see.
If it's huge, maybe we'll do an emergency mini episode. I think it'd be fun to do a mini episode here and there. We don't do that. We just kind of jam pack all of our episodes.
Yeah. No, you're right. I've been wanting to do stuff like that.
I think it'd be good. We need to experiment a little bit though.
So, the Golden Globes were this past week. And typically, anything in the horror realm kind of gets overlooked when it comes to award season. Well, not this year.
No, sir. Not this year at all.
This year, at least in Golden Globes, which is nice. Everybody wants to win a Golden Globe. Obviously, it's not an Oscar. But
hey, give some credit where it's due. It's still nice recognition.
But the thing is, you win a Golden Globe in a category, you're at least getting an Oscar nod. And an Oscar nod is very, very nice. So, we can expect this winner to get his Oscar nod soon. At least I would imagine he would. And of course,
well, a well-deserved nod, no less.
Exactly. And who I'm talking about is Guillermo del Toro. He won Best Director for The Shape of Water.
Yeah, that is not something to cry about, needless to say, especially from a fan perspective and a filmmaker who has been doing this for, 25, 30 years?
Yeah, and he's put together some of the best monster movies. You know, not traditional monster movies. I mean, we're not talking about your Draculas and your Frankensteins and your Wolfman. Though, did he didn't do the Wolfman remake, did he?
I don't know. I have to double check that. He might have.
No, I think Benicio del Toro was in that. But I don't think Guillermo del Toro had anything to do with it.
No, yeah, Benicio was in it. Actually, now that I remember, where you're getting the wires crossed is Guillermo was offered the Dark Universe.
Okay, you're right. He was.
That's where we're getting it crossed. And then we have Benicio del Toro in it, so we're just like, okay, wait a second. There was some del Toro in there, and he was involved in the monsters.
Yeah, all right. So I mean, I wasn't wrong. I knew Benicio del Toro was in it. I didn't get him confused with Antonio Banderas.
Oh boy, that would have been bad.
But I mean, Guillermo, he's brought us obviously this new beautiful movie, which I haven't seen yet, but I mean, it looks absolutely breathtaking, in the Shape of Water. But before that, he has given us Pan's Labyrinth. He's given us the Hellboy movies. I mean, these are monster movies at their core, and they are all breathtaking.
Yeah, well, I wrote an article about this Golden Globe win on deadentertainment.com, and while I was writing it, I was struggling with what to call him, to give him like a title of worthiness, like something like that. And I immediately came to the word auteur filmmaker, and I was like, wait a second, is he considered somebody with that strong of a voice? And I look back at his body of work with Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, Pacific Rim, Crimson Peak, and Shape of Water, all of these contributions to horror and fantasy, and my God, does he have a signature touch? Like, his work is completely unmistakable. So, like, to call him something like that, to really give him that sort of title and I guess prestige, it's something sort of special.
Yeah, it really is. And you had brought up his acceptance speech, and there was something he said in his acceptance speech, which has been said by a few people before, but it always goes unnoticed, is that they didn't say it in this manner exactly, but he said, because monsters, I believe, are patron saints of blissful imperfection. And when you look at monsters at their core, they really are. There was an episode, doing a little callback to Gilbert, there was an episode of Gilbert's podcast where they're talking about the Universal monster movies and how every monster sort of represents a different time in a child's life leading up to their adolescence. And that's sort of ties into that blissful imperfection before we reach our adulthood and kind of come into ourselves. So it really is a keen look on monsters as not being monsters. They're just outward representations of what all of us feel on the inside.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, it's a reflection on all of us at one point in our life. It's like a time capsule that captures a specific point, of our being, and just how things were at the moment, and such like that, and how we grew from that. At one point it may have been considered like a negative quality or something, but something that we've grown from and learned from and such like that. And some of these monsters that he creates are, it harkens back to those moments in our life.
Yeah, it's, as I said, I haven't seen the movie yet. I am very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be seeing it very soon, and hopefully reviewing it for the website. The concept is right up my alley. Number one, I really like that sort of era that the movie takes place, and how do you go wrong with Doug Jones being in it?
Well, when it comes to actors getting behind the makeup, especially for a Guillermo del Toro movie, it's almost always Doug Jones. I mean, Doug Jones, I believe, was in Pan's Labyrinth. Doug Jones plays Abraham Sapien in the Hellboy movies. So it makes sense. And
he's a vastly underrated actor, and I think deserves a lot more credit than he's given. He's he's up there. He probably exceeds like the work of Andy Serkis with his motion capture.
Well, it was this motion capture. It wasn't.
Oh no!
Makeup?
I mean, Andy Serkis does motion capture.
Oh yeah,
Serkis. A lot of people.
Yes,
yeah, a lot of people consider him very overlooked amongst the Academy and the award season because he's an actor, but he's just doing it with mocap. Doug Jones does it beneath tons of layers of makeup, and he still is able to make his characters very human, very like we could relate to him, very tragic and interesting. They're both very similar in very similar schools.
Yeah, and who I always felt like kind of got overlooked in that sort of way that Doug Jones does is Ray Park.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, this guy is like just a straight up stuntman who, will put on makeup and act his balls off. And he's been in fucking everything. Whether you noticed it was him or not, most of the time no, because he's always wearing a ton of makeup. I mean, this guy was in Star Wars, to X-Men, to fucking the G.I. Joe movies, to the Spartacus series, which I was a massive fan of. This guy is he never got the recognition he deserved, despite playing like a fucking fan favorite character in Darth Maul.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just the way Hollywood is built, unfortunately. A lot of these characters that should be accepting these awards yearly aren't, and that's kind of unfortunate. But the body of work that they leave behind, when you go to somebody's IMDb page, like Ray Park or Doug Jones or anybody like that, and you see, you could see that their work really shows their talent. They keep getting asked back, and it's just a shame that they're kind of pushed it aside for like A-listers or Oscar grab performances.
Yeah, well, on top of winning Best Director, this movie also took home Best Original Score for a motion picture. So I think this movie should get a couple of nods come Oscar time, hopefully, and that will be a good. Because I don't care what anybody says and anybody calls it. This is a horror movie at its core, and it's a true representation of where horror came from, harkening back to the Universal Monsters era.
Yeah, I'd like to say that dare I say, some of the monsters that he's created and such are just modern day, not modern day reflections of that, but like they were created in the same way that the originals were created. They're trying to make something very unique and something stand out and something that will stand the test of time. And I think the jury's still out, but I'm pretty sure his movies are gonna, outlive a lot of us.
Yeah, I would hope so with with just how amazing they are. I mean, to this day, Hellboy 2 is still my favorite comic book movie ever. I love Hellboy 2: The Golden Army. It's just I didn't find one thing wrong with that movie, and anytime I see it on TV, I stop whatever the fuck I'm doing and I watch it just because I love it that much. It's just that enjoyable of a movie. And I'm still upset to this day that we never got the third movie we were promised. We never got. As a fan of the Hellboy's comics, I always was really hoping to see Lobster Johnson in a movie, and Roger the Homunculus. These are characters we never got to see. Hopefully this new reboot at least mentions them or gives us a cameo or an Easter egg of some sort. There actually was a Roger the Homunculus Easter egg in one of the Hellboy movies. I just don't remember. It was just really quick and you would miss it. So yeah, I mean, his movies do leave massive impact, especially at least on my life, but I'm sure on almost everybody else who enjoys his movies.
Yeah, without question. I mean, his movies are just gorgeous to look at. They're very well crafted. They get to point A to point C, without any sort of turbulence, and it's just, you simply can't go wrong when it comes to a Guillermo movie. He's just a tremendous director.
Yeah, I would love to see him. I mean, obviously the guy does not need any help with anything he does. But I would love to see him team up with somebody in the future and do a collaboration movie. I just can't figure out who I would want it to be. I'm kind of thinking in the back of my mind, maybe Jon Favreau, because I'm just such a huge Jon Favreau fan. And I think that it would be just a weird combination that it would somehow work.
I think what I would do is have Guillermo direct Jon Favreau in a happy movie. If you're a Marvel fan, you would appreciate that one.
It would just be. I don't know. I just feel like it would just be some just crazy cocktail that just somehow came out good. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad suggestion. What I'd really like to see him do is, obviously, I'd love to see him take on the Dark Universe and fix that, because good lord, what he would do with that series. But I'd also like to see him jump into something more popular, just to see what he could do. Without shackles on. I don't want to see him go into a place like Marvel or Lucasfilm and have the powers that be force him into a movie that he's not, he doesn't want to make. I want to see him make a Marvel movie, a Star Wars movie, but with his own freedom. Hell, fucking give him DC movies for that matter. They'd at least be beautiful to look at.
Yeah, but you know what? He's the kind of guy who wouldn't stick around if they were chaining his hands together.
Oh no, I completely agree, and I think that's partly why he didn't dive into the Universal thing when he had the opportunity.
Yeah, I'm sure they gave him ground rules and guidelines to follow, and he was like, "Yeah, no." All right, so moving on, because we could gush about fucking Del Toro all night. Moving on, there was a new trailer dropped for the upcoming Blu-ray and VOD release of Victor Crowley, which is coming out on February 6th, 2018. And it was a trailer that actually kind of gives us the plot of the movie, which the original launch trailer for the movie really didn't do. So it's more like a traditional trailer.
Yeah, I feel like the original teaser trailer was it kind of threw back to like the Friday stuff where they basically just, you know, set the tone, showed off a little bit of the kills, and you know, you got a taste of the movie. This one gives us more of what to expect out of Victor Crowley.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, it's more of a traditional movie trailer. And I mean, if you weren't excited for the movie from what you've seen already, then why are you a horror fan at this point?
I wasn't sure where you were going with that for a second there, and then I think it just like when you came out with it, I cracked up.
I mean, if like the first trailer didn't get your underwear wet for whatever reason from whatever end, this new trailer is not really going to do anything for you then. But if you got excited by the first trailer, then this trailer is definitely something for you. You will enjoy it, you will appreciate it, and your already soiled panties or whatever you happen to be wearing, I don't judge. Male, female, whatever you're wearing, I don't judge. But this new trailer, well, you're just going to soil them again.
Yeah, very well said. I mean, if you're a fan of Hatchet, you know, like you know what to expect from the series. It's going to be pure gratuitous violence and a swamp. How do you go wrong?
Swampy goodness. Are we playing this trailer?
Do you want to?
Well, I see that in the show notes.
I thought it'd be a good idea.
I could do that.
We haven't played a trailer in a while, so like the people that are watching, give it a shot. Check it out. If you're not a fan, or if you've never heard of Hatchet, or you know you may have watched the original and never watched the sequels, this one kind of like throws back to the earliest ones, and you know it seems very standalone. But needless to say, the trailer's pretty impressive. So.
All right, hang on. Sure, we can play the trailer for anybody watching, listening. Obviously, watching is better, but listening will be just as good.
True. I swear, we definitely need to get like an elevator music button.
Okay. You know, we don't need that. I didn't have everything.
Oh my god! Somebody divided by 0 again.
Well, that's what happens. Okay.
Is that what a black hole looks like?
Shut up. All right.
Here we go.
Yes, I have it now. Yeah, so you should pretty much be excited for, you know, that.
I agree.
This is all about? You think this is a fucking costume?
One thing that I wanted to point out,
life.
though, because we've talked about it once before on a podcast, is that when it comes to some of these newer movies that shoot in digital, oh, what's happening there? When it comes to some of these movies that shoot in digital, generally they look way too clean, and you know, like they don't have that sort of same old school aesthetic that the older films have that were shot on 35. In this particular case, while it does look clean, it looks gorgeous when it comes to those rich, deep colors that the cinematographer kind of like put into place. You know, all the lighting looks amazing on this trailer, and on top of that, you get Victor Crowley killing a bunch more people. And you can't really go wrong at that point.
No, I mean, it looks like a blast. An absolute blast.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to picking it up, completing my collection. And, you know, for God's sakes, if there's any toy makers or toy companies listening, please give us a Victor Crowley action figure already. Like, we need that right next to our Jason figures.
There were a few, but they were like custom figures. I saw a few of them at a stand in Monster Mania, and I'm talking $300-400, you know, pieces.
Yeah, I think I'm friends with the guy that makes it, the really tall Victor Crowley, right?
Yes.
It's like 24 inches tall or something along those lines.
It was big. It was definitely big.
Yeah, I forget the guy's name, but he I'm friends with him on Facebook. He's the guy. He's the same guy that made the Leslie Vernon figure. He actually got the license for that and made the Leslie Vernon figure.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that's another sequel we've been waiting for God knows how long. And I mean, it's nice that the franchise and character are living on through this comic that's coming, right?
Yeah, actually, I think it just got released. Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon got its own comic, and also, now that we're on the subject of Victor Crowley and Hatchet, I think issue 2,
yeah,
of Hatchet is getting released this month.
Now, where does the comic fall in line with the timeline?
I haven't picked them up yet, so I'm not exactly sure. But I plan on purchasing them and possibly doing a review for them on the site. But my guess, if they're not retelling the movies through comic, which seems to be a very popular trend amongst horror comic books, they might be companions. Like they might fill in the years between the movies.
Makes sense.
I mean, if, with Victor Crowley taking place with a reasonable time jump ahead, from what I understand, that would be a good place to place the comic series, in my opinion.
No, I agree. Definitely agree. Sort of like, Rogue One is supposed to be between episodes 3 and 4, but let's be honest, it takes place like an hour before Part 4 begins.
Yeah, the very ending takes place just as A New Hope's beginning. Which was a beautiful touch, that ending is still, it's probably ranked up there with some of my favorite endings of all time of any movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Rogue One. I was just an example. Whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Now that we're past our third piece of news, and we're at like the hour mark.
Well, I have to say, we need to start playing like more trailers because that is a perfect time for me to go get a beer. Despite me having 2 beers at the start, like I normally do, it didn't really help this week. I got through those 2 really quick, and
you're in luck. I think we're gonna play the Hellraiser trailer for when we get there because in the midst of setting everything up, I forgot to watch it. So we're gonna watch it and experience my reaction live.
Okay, sure, I can do that. We'll just pull up a link, and when we get to that, we'll bring it up. And I don't know if I really want to get any more beer. I'm on because I went to the bar after work with coworkers, and I had a couple beers there, a couple beers now, and we had sushi tonight, so I had sake. So,
damn man, you had quite the night.
I'm feeling pretty good.
I had a nap. I had a cup of coffee, which is pretty normal. And I'm in my dude attire, pajama pants, and my robe.
I love that image. Not really, but sure.
That's a little weird. Okay, this episode is our last episode. I changed my mind again.
Yankee Candle won't have that. They're paying us that candle money.
We're gonna have a big falling out over the years and just have to keep begrudgingly do the episodes because of our Yankee Candle money.
Alright, so let's just move on to the next topic, which happens to be up in my wheelhouse. It happens to be more Friday the 13th news, and anything Friday the 13th related is good in my book, unless it has something to do with Jason X, and then I tell you to go to hell.
I like that wordplay.
But this doesn't have to do with Jason X. This has to do with that wonderful documentary on Friday the 13th Part 3 that we've heard so much about over the last couple months. And it's finally getting released. And you can watch it for free. For free. You can watch it for free on YouTube next week. January 13th.
That was an amazing piece of news that I came across. I was very much looking forward to this documentary since we first reported on it, maybe like a month or so ago. And I'm like, oh, cool, we got a release date. I'm reading the article, and I'm just I was like, wait a second, this is going to be uploaded to YouTube for pretty much anybody to watch. So that was exciting. Like, like obviously you want to support your filmmakers, you want to support the projects they're working on, but they believe enough in this movie to put it out there and kind of go the Netflix route. Like throw their movie up there, check it out, and it'll work out in the end.
It's a documentary that a lot of fans have been wanting, especially considering that we've lost a couple of key cast members from the movie, and it's sort of in their honor, especially Richard Brooker. Richard Brooker, played Jason in Friday the 13th Part 3, and really is sort of the Jason that the rest of the Jasons were kind of built around. I mean, yes, Steve Dash was awesome in Part 2, but we never got another Part 2 type Jason in any future film.
Yeah, he was unique in his own right, but it wasn't until Jason got that hockey mask and truly like became the icon that he is, that those performances weren't based on anything else. Like once he got that hockey mask, that was the foundation that was laid for the character, and beyond that, anybody that portrayed the character, Kane Hodder included, took a look back at what Richard Brooker did in that performance and tried to make it their own a little bit, but it always came back to that. And unfortunately, like you said with Steve Dash, he's cemented as that one baghead Jason, for what it's worth. But it wasn't until Part 3 that Jason really became something.
Yeah, and obviously we lost Richard Brooker a couple years back, and just a year ago we lost Gloria Charles, who always just seemed like she was just a massive sweetheart. And we also lost Steve Siskind, who played Harold in Friday the 13th Part 3, who wasn't a major character in the movie, but he was a very, very memorable character from the beginning of the movie. And we lost him about 12 or 13 years ago, I believe. So this documentary is sort of a homage to these characters, these actors that have passed. A lot of them, all of them, honestly, before their time.
Yeah, I mean, it's really great to have a documentary that doesn't approach it from a completely behind the scenes perspective, but more as a tribute to the people that really made it possible. So I think this documentary is going to be a nice companion to the ones that came before it, like Crystal Lake Memories, and obviously the book that the documentary was named after. So it's going to be nice to see see behind the mask a little bit, and really get to appreciate the actors that made this film possible.
Yeah, and just knowing that they're releasing this to fans for free is, I mean, nobody saw that coming. I honestly wish, because I would love for these filmmakers to actually make some money on this, put it up on YouTube for a week. Whoever gets to watch it watches it, and then let people buy it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're planning on rolling out this release. I know. Obviously, they're going to be putting it up for free, but my hope is that they have a store, on their website or something like that, where you could pre-order a deluxe edition, maybe one that comes with a ton of bonus features. Like, I remember the Crystal Lake Memories documentary had a 4-hour documentary, or 4 or 6 hour documentary on Friday the 13th, and then 4 additional hours of bonus features. So I'm hoping that we might see something similar once this goes live. And from fans, from a fan's perspective, it's always nice to have things for free, but when you're making a documentary like this because of the passion that you have for the series, and it becomes a labor of love. You're not doing it for millions and millions of dollars. So throw back to these filmmakers that really put their time, effort, and money into producing this thing. We definitely urge you to if the movie's available on DVD and Blu-ray, to seek it out, pick it up, watch it on YouTube first, and then support the artists.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a question. If you're a fan of the franchise, this is a documentary and a story we've all been waiting for. I mean, we've gotten the bits and pieces over the years from all the books and just well-rounded documentaries that have come out, like Crystal Lake Memories and stuff. Both the book written by Peter Brack and the movie documentary that came out a couple years back. But this is an isolated Part 3 only documentary, and it's going to dive more into the process of the movie and what went into it. And I know Larry Zerner was a big part of it, so hearing some more of his stories from the movie and from the set is really worth it on its own. Larry is a great guy. He's awesome to his fans. So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to the most.
I like that it's definitely going to be zeroing in on one of the films without having to worry about, okay, this segment is for Friday the 13th Part 3, and you only have 15 minutes to talk about it in the edit. This one's going to be able to kind of take its time with the movie and really, I guess, zero in on what made that movie special, why it's the one that pretty much people always put up on their top lists of Friday movies. And, it's just going to, give you more than an anthology documentary would. So I think it's going to be definitely worth your time to check out.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of the series, you can't pass this one up, especially knowing that it's free. So, mark it on your calendars for next week, January 13th. It's going to be free on YouTube. I put up the link in the chat. It's going to be available on the Friday the 13th Network YouTube page. So, just remember that. And go watch it, go support it.
Yeah, once it gets put up live, if you forget, always check out deadentertainment.com, because we're going to be covering this film for sure once it gets released, and it'll be a good place to remind yourself.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to have a review up as soon as I finish watching it. As I'm watching it, I will most likely be writing a review for the website, so keep an eye on that. I'm hoping a couple of the other writers are going to write reviews, because I know I'm going to be a little biased. I try to go into every movie as unbiased as possible, but in certain franchises, it's hard for me. It's either being a fan or just a hardcore not fan. It's hard to go into certain movies unbiasedly, but I'm going to try.
I forget what movie it was recently that I told my brother that I'm keeping away from you as far as reviews go. I had a small conversation. I was like, Matt's not watching that one or reviewing that one for the site, because I know how he's going to go into that one. I said, I'm taking that one. Trying to remember which one. But in any case, I'm going to be watching the film as well. Maybe Matt and I could kind of give our own perspective, maybe do a tag team review on it, because he's super fan, and while I'm super fan as well, I'm more casual when it comes to the Friday the 13th series. I don't know every character's name. I've seen them all, but I'm not as crazy big into it as he is.
Yeah, I sort of remember you guys talking about that particular movie. I know it wasn't Buzzard Hollow Beef.
No, it definitely wasn't. Shit. It's going to come to me like the minute the episode goes offline. I guarantee it.
Alright, so yes, January 13th, the Friday the 13th Network channel. Go watch this documentary, thumbs it up, share it, get it out there. This is a movie and a story people want to hear, people want to see, fans, horror fans, Friday fans, it doesn't matter. Just do your part as a fan and just get it out, share it when it comes out next week.
Yeah, we'll definitely be talking about it on the next episode, so hopefully you guys are going to be kept, hopefully you keep up with us and you could follow our mini review that we're going to talk about next week.
Alright, so we haven't done a blood pressure segment in a while because we haven't had anything. There hasn't been any news or anything that's really pissed me off.
Yes, I renamed the segment Pressure Rising. I'm still working on it because high blood pressure segment kind of bugged me a little. But anything that gets Matt's gears grinded, is a good thing. So this particular topic, me and him are going to be differing on. We're going to have very different views on, and let's see how it goes.
All right. Okay. It doesn't help that we're getting into this particular segment after I've had more to drink than I normally do on a Wednesday night.
This might actually be our final episode. We might see. I predicted it.
That's okay. I can manage this. Now, the topic at hand is Spawn. I am a very, very massive Spawn fan. As a kid, little kid I'm talking, it's like 6, 7, 8 years old, kid, I was a really big fan of Spawn. I don't know why. I don't even know how it happened.
You know what? I want to cut you off really quick. I don't know how it happened for anybody. It felt like Spawn just appeared, and we all had to own everything about it. Whether it be comic books or every toy imaginable. We had to pester our parents to buy the $100 Spawn Alley.
I had that.
I did too. I had 2 of them. So, I don't know how McFarlane managed to creep into our houses and put the seed in our mind, but my God, it felt like in the 90s, Spawn just took the world by storm, in a huge way out of nowhere.
And the thing about it, it wasn't meant for kids. It was the farthest thing from kids.
Maybe that's the thing that tempted us, to see the sort of violence in those comics that we've never seen in the funny books that we grew up reading. We've seen violence, but not Spawn level violence.
Yeah, no, the Spawn was not meant for us, but somehow it truly fell into my lap. I still have some of my old Spawn figures in boxes. I might even have a container with some of the Spawn figures that I opened and played with as a kid. I had all of them. I had Spawn Alley. I had the Spawn Mobile. The only thing I could not find as a kid was the Violator Chopper.
Yeah, that one was a tough one. I think that's the one I didn't have either. I had the Spawnmobile.
No, not the Chopper. I had. What? I had the Violator Chopper. I'm sorry, the Violator motorcycle. That's the Chopper. I had that. It's called the Violator Rig, and when it was this giant, it was almost like a garbage truck almost. And when it rolled on the floor on its wheels, the front of it had a giant Violator mouth, and it would open up and down, open down. It would just nom on people in front of it, and it was impossible to find. It was to the point where I didn't even think it existed.
Yeah, I felt that way with a lot of the toys. It was now that we're talking about the figures, it was a massive hunt to come and find these things. Tracking down a Spawn. When I tracked down the Spawnmobile, I had to have gone to 5 to 10 toy stores over the course of months, and then boom, I saw it. I think I saw it at a KB toy store, and finding it was like Christmas morning. But some of the figures and vehicles and Spawn Alley too were a little bit more difficult to come by when it came to those series.
Dude, I remember when I got the bulk of my Spawn toy collection. It was when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and it was a Christmas. and one of my cousins gave me a giant box. And when I say giant, the box was bigger than me. And apparently, he had some connections. Well, it's one of my cousins. He had some connections somewhere at a toy store. And the box had everything from the first 2 series of Spawn. Every figure.
Wow, that's impressive.
Every figure. The Spawnmobile, Spawn Alley. The only thing it didn't have, again, and this is why I think it doesn't exist, is the Violator rig.
I'm looking on eBay now.
Like, I've never seen one in person. I've never seen one in the store. I had the Violator Chopper because I think it came with Violator 2, if I'm not mistaken, which was a great figure. One of my favorite figures.
You ready to get excited? You could own it right now for $17.95 plus $8 shipping and handling.
And you know what? I'm not surprised. That's probably like the rarest. Aside from maybe Future Spawn, I only ever saw one Future Spawn figure. These figures just never went up in value. Any of them.
I find that happening quite a bit with McFarlane in general. Like, take a look at NECA horror figures, and then take a look at Movie Maniacs from the McFarlane series, and they just never, like, I don't know if they were excessively mass-produced or what, but it doesn't seem like the figures ever go up when it comes to anything McFarlane puts out.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just, like, I have a couple of older figures, even some of the movie figures still in packaging, and it's just, they're not worth anything. They're just not.
I just recently came across my non-Violator, I guess you consider it either way, my original clown from the first series, and I have the movie clown as well. But I gotta say, you know, I feel like you should go on eBay and go buy that thing right now, because it would represent the conquest that you finally achieved, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if I still had all my figures and my Spawn Alley, I wish I did, because I would love to set it up at the house, but I don't. You know, it's, you know, as a kid in the 90s, you grow out of stuff, and most kids got rid of their toys, and I got rid of most of mine. I do have, up until about 2 or 3 years ago, my parents actually kept a massive portion of my Spawn figures in this, like, gray industrial tub.
That's where all my figures are. They're all in my garage in those tubs.
Yeah, you know, it might honestly still be around somewhere if I looked for it. And if it is, I'll scour through it. There were some really cool figures. I remember I had this awesome character named Gatekeeper, and it was a really fucking cool figure. And a few other ones I would love to take and just display them once I get back into the house. But
yeah, I mean, we're gonna have a whole different. You're gonna have a great basement room area where we're gonna be recording and doing everything. Lord knows we could get a few shelves and really make it something.
Yeah, definitely. But you know, we've kind of digressed off the main part of this topic, and that's to discuss the new movie that Todd McFarlane is trying to get off the ground in terms of Spawn, and I don't like it.
I do like it.
I don't. I
do.
As a lifelong Spawn fan, it's not what I want. It's not even close to what I want for a Spawn movie.
I think what you want, you're going to get, but not in the capacity that you want. You're not gonna have it in such gratuitous amounts. First, introduce what they're doing.
Well, they're making a Spawn movie with Spawn barely in it. That's basically what Todd McFarlane is trying to say. We're going to make a Spawn movie, but Spawn's going to be a background character. You know, you're going to see him, but it's really not going to be about him. It's going to be about everything else around him.
Which, to me, is world building 101. that character is going to mean so much more than having him front and center because of the world that they're going to be putting him in. He's going to exist in it, but they're going to be focusing on making the world, that he lives in a real thing.
You can't do that without introducing the character. I was saying this in the chat earlier. You don't make a Spider-Man movie and not have Spider-Man in it. Well, Spider-Man's sort of in it. You see him for a scene here and a scene there, but the movie's really about John Jonah Jameson. That's the movie. That's the Spider-Man movie this is about. You don't do that. You don't have the kind of clout in the movie world right now to, say, we're going to make a Spawn movie, but Spawn's not going to be in it. You can't do... If you had fucking 10 movies under your belt, fuck that, even 5. You had 5 movies under your belt, I would say go for it. I'm a big fan of Sam and Twitch. I think they're very dynamic characters. That's not what I want to start.
I don't even think Sam and Twitch are going to be the main characters, because aside from this, Kevin Smith is developing a Sam and Twitch TV show to go along with it as a companion thing. But you sigh at me. Alright, so one thing I wanted to point out before we go too far from what you just said, I think you're doing a lot of assuming that Spawn is not going to be a prime, he's not going to be a focus of the movie. I know McFarlane's saying that he's going to be kind of more to the shadows, that sort of thing. I honestly don't think that's going to be the case. I honestly think it's going to be a situation where he's going to exist plenty in there, but they're going to have to work up to him. They're going to build everything around this character, and then when he comes out, he's going to come out in the way that you're ready, that you want, basically the way you want it, the way that you've come to expect, rather. And I think it's going to pay off in dividends, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to not get myself too fanboy angry over this shit, because at the end of the day, I could go to the movies, I can watch this movie whenever it comes out, if it comes out. I could probably dislike it. I will voice my dislike for the movie. I will not go on a fanboy crusade. Instead of going on that fanboy crusade, I will come home, I will sit in this fucking chair in front of this fucking monitor, I will go to YouTube, and I will watch...
The original?
Shut up. I will watch the HBO series in its entirety, and all will be right. All will be right with the world. That is all I need, in my opinion. I grew up watching that show on HBO on midnights. I don't remember if it was Friday or Saturday night, but as a kid, I remember I looked forward to it every weekend because it was so good. It was I remember I would watch that and the Max, and I was like, wow, this is just great. This is just great storytelling, great shows, great characters. So
I honestly think that you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I think you're going to go into this movie with this hateful eye, expecting whatever black or white scenario that you're cooking up in your head, and I think this is going to be the way to do Spawn right, and it's certainly going to be a heavy departure from the original, and probably significantly better than it. I think this is a good approach, in my opinion.
No, they already did Spawn right, and again, it was in the HBO series.
I'm talking on the big screen.
Yeah, with the big screen, they're going to fuck it up again, because that's just what they do with most shit on the big screen. They fuck it up. Now, if Todd McFarlane stepped down, and let's just throw a name out there, Guillermo del Toro decided to step in and give life to this monster, well, then I would go to the movie theaters wearing a condom, because that's how excited I would be.
As much as I'd like to see Del Toro take on this, stop turning on the master. He created Spawn. trust the man a little bit. He created something that you were so passionate about in your childhood. Let him see his vision through.
Yeah, and he's obviously fallen prey to this massive opioid crisis going on in the United States today, because the shit he says when he talks about this movie he's working on is fucking asinine.
I don't even think it's asinine. I think it's misunderstood. I think I think fanboys and journalists are reporting these little blurbs and then spinning it the way that they want to. They set it up in a different way, and then when you read the article, you're just like, okay, well, that's fucking bizarre. You're not. Words could only mean what you imagine them to be, and you don't have a picture into Todd McFarlane's head, and I trust McFarlane enough to bring a vision to the big screen, because it's not something he's new to, like he's been doing this for a very long time.
You said misunderstood. You know what's misunderstood? A fart when you're bending over to pick up something. That's misunderstood.
Misunderstood in the sense that you cannot see what he's picturing. And in his head, all he's able to do is kind of try to describe it. And there are moments where I'm trying to convey a thought myself or an idea when it comes to, an article or a movie idea or something like that. And I just can't find the words to pretty much describe the vision in my head until it's actually realized. And I'm sure for years, plenty of years in the past, him trying to explain the original comic to the powers that be or the people that he's trying to get to help fund it, is probably one of those situations where you're like, oh, well, I don't fucking get it. Some guy from hell and he comes back and, and what is this violator thing? I don't understand it. Until you see it on those comic book pages, you don't quite understand it at all. You can't wrap your head around it. So, I don't know. I'm a little more optimistic about it. I think he's going to deliver something interesting.
Well, I'm glad you're so optimistic. I, however, am not optimistic. As I said, misunderstood. You know what's misunderstood? Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. That's misunderstood because that's a great movie. What he's trying to shove down... I wouldn't say shove down our throats because that's not... That's wrong. But what he's trying to create is something that's not even his. It's weird because he created this character, he created this story. We got the abomination that was the first film, with the only redeeming factor being John Leguizamo.
Except the time he was dressed as a cheerleader, but go on.
Spawn, he's our man.
God, that movie is awful. I want to revisit it. We should do a podcast episode, a commentary on that movie.
I can't believe that hasn't been a How Did This Get Made yet.
Yeah, right? Like, I'm going to go tweet them now about that.
So, yes, obviously we got one of the worst comic book movies, if not... No, it's definitely not the worst comic book movie. I mean, Elektra and Catwoman and Steel and Suicide Squad are definitely worse.
Like Suicide Squad, shut up.
And now are you going to take everything he just said about the new Spawn movie seriously? Come on, guys. Anyway.
Hey, I like the character. Don't dog me over that. Come on.
Anyway. So we got the garbage original movie that had one redeeming factor, and obviously it's not enough to save the movie. Then we had this amazing cinematic fucking TV series on HBO that was just mind-blowing. I mean, I rewatch it almost once a year now, and it's just... I can't even put into words that how beautiful this HBO show was. And I mean, HBO is known for just putting out amazing shows. I enjoy, Game of Thrones. I think it's gotten pretty stale over the last few seasons, but I do enjoy it. I've always been a massive fan of Oz. These were great, and there's plenty of other shows on HBO that I love. Boardwalk Empire. HBO does shows well, And what they did is they took this dark comic book character and created this cinematic animated show, and it was just one of the best things that they've ever done. And that's the Spawn I grew up reading in the comic books, and I finally got to see him on some sort of screen. And I understand what McFarlane is trying to do with this new movie, and if he doesn't go too far with putting Spawn in the shadows. Now, Spawn is a character who interacts with more people and beings than what he's trying to make it seem like is going to happen in this new movie. And I think that's going to be a problem. Spawn needs to interact with people. It's part of his character. It's part of his development. So I don't think it's going to be as bad as the original movie if it's going the way I see it going in my head. And if it focuses on Sam and Twitch, who are two great characters in the Spawn universe, then, you know, that's going to be something very redeeming. Now, that's also going to kind of tie into who they get to play Sam and Twitch. Sam and Twitch are very unique characters. I mean, they're for anyone not familiar with Sam and Twitch are these two detectives who are kind of on the trail of Spawn, but not really on Spawn. They're kind of just following all the mayhem and craziness that happens around Spawn and kind of involves the surrounding environment and people. And they're very dynamic characters in the sense that they are complete opposites, but they manage to mesh very well in the comics and in the animated show. So something based around them would be amazing, but again, as I just said, it really is going to depend on who they cast for these characters. I really don't think I have. I can't even think of who they could possibly get to nail these characters properly.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one. I think there's going to be a lot of moving parts in this thing, and a lot of pieces are going to have to fall into place in order for it to be successful. The way he's going, I've got a feeling that it's going to be a little bit better than you're envisioning.
Like, God, man, it's just, you know, if he was still alive, who would have been a perfect Twitch, because he's very Egon-like.
Who's that?
Harold Ramis.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was picturing somebody else that you were going to say.
No, Harold Ramis would have been an amazing Twitch. And then Sam, honestly, like in my perfect world, Twitch would be played by Harold Ramis, and Sam would be played by maybe like TJ Miller.
Not after the headlines today, when we...
Oh God, did he rape someone now?
Let's not even get into it.
I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer for the new Hellraiser movie, and we're going to just talk about that real quick before we sign off tonight. So here it is.
I want to promise you that next week's episode is going to be way different than this week's. We're gonna try to get back to basics, and like, I don't even know.
Alright, so without further ado, here is the brand new Hellraiser Judgment trailer.
Evil seeks evil.
What is going on here?
Let's just dive in, shall we?
What we're investigating, it's very dark.
Just curious. What do you see?
You think you're too close to this case?
Jesus Christ.
It's him.
What on earth is this place? It isn't. There's hell to pay.
So there was the new Hellraiser trailer. No, stop that. You know,
That was a trailer.
it was, man, it's so, it doesn't even feel like a Hellraiser movie, to be honest.
Kind of has like a Saw vibe with Hellraiser characters.
Yeah, sort of. It almost feels like Candyman and Hellraiser.
Right, yeah. Candyman definitely works. A little bit of like a dash of Near Dark in there.
Now I think the designs, the Cenobites, I think they all actually look amazing. Pinhead looks great. Obviously, it's not Doug Bradley, but it looks much better than the last Pinhead we got in that really weird remake reboot, and it just wasn't good.
The one that shot for 8 days or 8 to 12 days.
Yep.
Ugh.
This one at least looks. This Pinhead at least looks really good. We got Chatterer. He looks amazing. And then we got some new. I don't even know if they're really Cenobites. They're just. They almost look like they could have been characters from 13 Ghosts.
The ones with the skin that's kind of like ripped off.
No, like that one. It looked like a big fat butcher with like the doll mask.
Oh, right.
You know, these are obviously new characters, new villains, new Cenobites, whatever the fuck they are. And they don't really feel like they fit in this weird sort of just the world that Clive Barker has built in the Hellraiser universe. They don't feel like they belong.
Under normal circumstances, I'd say like that'd be a good thing because I don't even know what they're up to as far as numbers go, as far as with the sequels. But you know, the Hellraiser series is in desperate need of some sort of re-envisioning, and I don't think this is the way to do it. You know, I don't think that like this looks very interesting, but it doesn't seem to exist in the Hellraiser world, like Matt just said.
You know, the first two Hellraiser movies, especially the first one, and I love part two. Part two is probably my favorite in the franchise, but I think part one is obviously the most true to the source material.
I agree.
If you've never read the source material for Hellraiser, go out and find the Hellbound Heart. It's amazing, and the first Hellraiser movie is based on the Hellbound Heart. In today's world, well, with the advances in obviously makeup and CGI and whatever, taking the Hellbound Heart and making it for today's audience, it really should be an event, a cinematic event. That's how amazing that novella was. And, you know, we've gotten some shit sequels over the last few years. We've gotten this horrible remake.
Was it even a remake?
Yeah.
I thought it was a sequel. The Pinhead was just replaced.
No, it was a remake. 2006. No, well, it was announced in 2006.
I know that there were sequels, and then there was a remake that Clive Barker was attached to produce, and then it just went to like developmental hell and just never got put out.
It's.
And then this last one, I forget what it was called. The one that came before this one was a situation of, I think, the Weinstein Company trying to rush to retain the rights for the movie because somebody didn't do their job and keep on that. Yeah, Revelations was what it was called. Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
So right now we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this next one is going to be the 10th entry into this franchise.
And dare I say that this series is probably one of the big horror icons. Like worst offerings, like it plummeted so bad. Probably worse than any of the other ones.
Yeah, it's so weird because you had the original Hellraiser movie, which is one of the best movies in my opinion, best horror movies. Hellraiser 2 again, which is my favorite in the franchise, just because it's just so much fun. Then I am actually a fan of Hellraiser 3 Hell on Earth. Why? I don't know. But I do like the movie. After Hell on Earth, we really started to go downhill. There was Bloodline, which, it wasn't good. And the fact that every movie after Bloodline was even worse, man,
I don't know who are getting these jobs. Like, you would think that they would just give the series over to fans, that would treat them with a little more respect. But I don't know. Like, they're giving it to like their third cousin's best friend's roommate or some shit that just to get a movie out there. It seems because these sequels have been terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bloodline took place in space.
I mean, at this point, space would be a little more welcome than random warehouse. Like, in the trailer, they said something along, it's not from this world, or not of this world, or whatever, and he's like, it isn't. And it's like, yeah, it very, very clearly looks like it is. It's just like some abandoned factory somewhere. There's no hell qualities to it.
Yeah, it's like, so you had Bloodline that took place in space, and then I'm going to be completely honest, Inferno, Hellseeker, and Deader, I don't remember at all. I've seen them all. I couldn't tell you what happened in any of them. Now, Hellworld, I remember because it was so awful. Hellworld, the premise is there is some type of computer game on a website called hellworld.com, and somebody opens up a virtual lament configuration, and then Pinhead comes back somehow through the internet and terrorizes people on the internet.
What they should have done was taken the script from the Lawnmower Man movie and just made the powerful being Job Pinhead. Print it, sell it.
Yeah. I didn't see Revelations because it looked. I don't know how you can possibly look worse than Hellworld, but it did. But so at least this trailer looks really nice. It looks confusing, but the designs look amazing, and it looks like if all the ducks are in a row in terms of the script and the storytelling, this could be an okay movie. I don't think it's going to be a great movie, but from the trailer at least, it looks like it's going to be an entertaining movie.
Yeah, it might be worth checking out, but like, I really want to revisit the series before I do. And I know that's kind of a fool's errand.
So that's kind of where I am with this movie. I'm going to give it a shot because I am a fan of the series. Well, at least the first 3 movies anyway. The rest can just die and go to hell. But I will give this movie a shot. I did like that trailer. It doesn't necessarily get me excited, but it piques my interest. I've been using that word a lot lately, piques, but it does. It piques my interest, and I think it's a movie I will enjoy.
It had a better vibe than I expected it to, but generally speaking, it just seems like more of the same. It's gonna come out, and it's gonna go largely unnoticed. You know, the Hellraiser fans are gonna eat it up, even though it's kind of subpar, and it's not gonna do anything good for the series. Like, the series is gonna continue to exist, in my opinion, until the next time they have to dust it off for rights retention. And I think it needs more life being breathed into it. You know, like it's been dying for so long, and for some reason it just kind of limps along. I think it's time to cut it all out and really redo it from the ground up, and give it back to Clive Barker. Not even to Own. Just let him try to do it from a different perspective.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we need to start wrapping up, but before...
Yeah, I think we depressed you guys enough, right?
Yeah, and it's why I want to cut out that certain aspect, because we're already at 2 hours and 40 minutes, so...
We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. So, before we wrap up... Well, do you have any shout-outs this week?
No, thanks to everybody that listens. I mean, like, I normally do it on the fly, but all the life has been sucked out of me so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'll shout out, obviously, Yankee Candle.
Dick. After this episode, we're never getting Yankee Candle. I hope you know. We're gonna have to like settle for the dollar store candle brand. I don't even know what that's called.
Yeah, I don't think have anybody I really need to shout out this week. Probably next week, just because we're running so late. Because I wanted to do one more thing before we ended. We started this episode with a song and a sort of a shout out because it's a really cool cover. I'm going to actually go ahead and play the video one more time before we sign out for the night. So just enjoy. If you guys weren't here for the beginning of the show, enjoy this awesome cover of the Monsters theme by a band called Scum of the Earth.
It's me, Urban Monster. of outer space.
Eddie just wants to massacre him.
Go on out there and kill them. Wipe them out. All of them. To the very last man. Violence. Brutality.
Trick-or-treaters are all dead. Isn't it beautiful? Take a walk in the cemetery. Get eaten up by cannibals.
Celebrate Halloween.
Love and kisses, Penny baby.
Alright, hope you guys enjoyed that little video and the song. It's, again, Scum of the Earth. They are a awesome band. Riggs, ex-guitarist from Rob Zombie, it's his band. They got a couple albums. They should have a new album coming out, I would think, in the next year. They just put out another single called Dance Motherfucker. That's also a really, really awesome song. I would say check that one out too. We started the episode off with that song, and I figured it was only right after the shit we were talking about earlier to end on a awesome headbanging cover of fucking Monsters theme. I mean, you don't even realize like that is going to end up becoming my fucking ringtone on my phone.
I'm an Addams Family guy, but Jesus Christ, that song jams.
And I love the video. It's so Rob Zombie-ish, but it's like I know it's not Rob Zombie, and it just makes me love it even more because I know that fucking Riggs did it, and he took what Rob Zombie started and sort of what Rob Zombie is kind of strayed away from, and has really taken it and made it his own, and I fucking love it. Like, watch the new single Dance Motherfucker, and you'll see what he took from Rob Zombie and how he created his own with it.
Hey, give credit where credit's due. You know, like when you said you created, you know, like he created it or Rob Zombie created it. This dude was along for the ride with Hellbilly Deluxe. He helped mold the album into what it was. So, you know, I think he deserves enough, you know, credit on top of it.
No, you're right. You're definitely right.
You know, the new single is awesome. I decided to check that out on your article from Dead Entertainment, and he's got a music video for it and everything. And I the minute I put it on, it has this like weird, almost rock heavy metal dance vibe to it, and I was like, oh boy, I don't know what to think of this. But once those guitars kick in, you're just blown away by it. It's fucking incredible.
It's almost dubsteppy in certain areas.
Yeah, like it's such a weird thing, but it has such a nice groove to it, complemented by, you know, just heavy metal fucking badassery. I mean, there's no better way to put it.
It sort of reminds me, because a lot of the older stuff from Scum of the Earth doesn't sound like that, but it sort of reminds me of some stuff from if anybody's familiar with Combi Christ. Combi Christ sort of has a lot of music that sounds very similar to that. It's almost like a dance electro heavy metal.
Yeah, it's got a good vibe to it. I'm definitely gonna check out the new album. I actually have to check out their albums after the first one. Like I listened to the first one and enjoyed it, but I kind of like as you do with most artists, sometimes you stray away or you forget they exist because you like so many different bands. So I gotta go back down the rabbit hole.
You know, I need to really revisit the second album. When I first listened to it, I thought it was a little too slow for my taste, and I couldn't get into it. but that was a couple years ago, and I haven't revisited it since. So I really do owe it to myself to go back and check it out. The third album I definitely liked a lot more than the second album, but the first album is the way to go.
Yeah, they jam, flat out. Like the new stuff looks promising. I'm very excited about the Monsters theme. That was a nice touch. So check them out. Scum of the Earth is the band, and I don't think we have a CD title for the new one, but check out their new single. What's it? Dance Motherfucker.
Dance Motherfucker.
Nice.
So, yep, and as I said, we said earlier, we really don't have any shout-outs. Just, as always, just check out Monster Mania, Fright Rags, Gray Matter Art. Those are our three big, well, they're not our supporters, but they're the three biggest people we probably support. So, Monster Mania, Fright Rags, Gray Matter Art, those guys, we've been fans of forever, so we will always shout them out.
Sounds good. Thanks everybody for checking this episode out. You can follow us on Twitter at WayOfLifeNet, Facebook.com/WayOfLifeNet, and of course we write every day, or just about every other day, something like that, on DeadEntertainment.com. So follow those things,
Yes, definitely check us out over on DeadEntertainment.com. Always got some cool, funky little articles up. We try to do as much news as we can as it shows up. Make sure you follow us on, as he was just saying, on, Twitter at least. And I have my channel, Live Deliciously in Game. I haven't been streaming lately, as I've been giving the apartment space to Tao so she can study for some of her certification tests. And when I stream, I'm typically loud. She's not even happy about me streaming on Wednesday night, but she accepts it at least at this point. So I got that.
You gotta give Tao a hug for me, because we gotta keep this train rolling.
So
should we plug what we're about to be doing?
I was just getting onto that. So before we sign off for the night, it is with a lot of joy and contempt, I guess, that I announced that
that's a good way to put it.
That we are finally, hopefully this weekend, myself, Mungus, Leather Rebel, and Tom, all finally getting together to do our content that we have been promising since, I don't know, the summer, that we were
we've been developing for well over a year before that. Like, it's been an idea for like a year or two.
Yeah, so we're hopefully finally getting together to do our first set of recordings. Just as long as our test recordings go well in the first hour or so, we are going to be doing it may not, for the first session, it may not be a month's worth, but we're hoping for at least 2 or 3 weeks worth of content for the channel. Because as of right now, this is the only content we provide, but it was not. This whole podcast was never planned as content for this channel.
We didn't even plan this podcast. That was the thing. Like, we had the other ideas that we were like kind of like let incubate, and then we got bored of waiting for all the pieces to fall into place, and we're like, hey, let's just do a live podcast every week. So this one wasn't planned. What we're about to embark on was the main reason we started this thing.
Yep, it was the original idea amongst us four. So we're hopefully getting together this Saturday or this Sunday, because I don't think it's going to be able to be this Monday, because I'm doing another podcast with my buddy Tartulov from Sweden.
Look at you leaving me behind.
Well, he's asked me for a while, and I promised I would do it, and I'm not working this Monday because we're off for President's Day or Martin Luther King Day. No, Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'm going to be off this Monday because he's in Sweden, so obviously he's in a much different time zone. So we had to find kind of like that butter zone where we both could be awake, and we could do this podcast for an hour or two. So Saturday or Sunday we should be doing some recording, and as I said, as long as the test recordings go well, because It's really a learning process because we're doing it all in person in a recording area I've set up downstairs for myself.
And we're not audio guys either. Like we don't know what the hell we're doing. Like we're researching everything as we go.
Yeah, so I have everything set up already downstairs. Aside from setting up a couple more microphones, as long as everything tests well, we'll have. I'm hoping to say at least 2 or 3 new pieces of content to release in the next few weeks here. So that is about it. I hope you guys are at least excited for that. Now, just to give you an idea what it's going to be, it's going to be mostly metal music and beer discussion, maybe with a little horror movie discussion thrown in. But because we cover so much horror here, we're going to probably lean more on metal and beer, which obviously that's awesome stuff. So, I mean, no one's going to complain about that, but we're going to lean more on the metal and beer aspects on that particular pre-recorded content with horror peppered in as it comes along, I guess.
Yeah, it comes with the territory when you're talking to me and Matt and Anthony and Tom. They're not big horror guys. Anthony likes it a little bit more than Tom, but it's when you're hanging out with the two of us, we find some way to relate anything to horror. So I mean, it all goes back to that. So we're no doubt going to be getting into a little bit of that.
Yep. So again, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. This was a crazy, stupid, long episode. Hopefully, we will be editing this down for its main release.
He says we, but I'm the asshole that's gonna have to do this tonight.
Oh my god! Because editing out that giant chunk of 30 minutes of sexual harassment.
All right. Well, let me just say this real quick. YouTube, while convenient, their video editor is dog shit. The minute you put the little bar to the spot that you need to go, it'll time out and you have to refresh the thing. It's such a nightmare.
Oh my god! All right, then you know what? If it's having that much trouble, I'll fucking download it. I'll edit it in Vegas and I'll fucking repost.
I got it covered. I'm just saying. I will be editing it down. And anybody that listens to this in the future are going to be like, wait, what's sexual harassment thing? Like, I'm going to have to find that and edit that down, too. Thanks. And what I just said. This episode's a fucking mess. Let's just get out of here.
All right, so we're going to take a 2-second break. And what you can do is just cut it off at that point and just find a good good part to splice it in from and just so you can kill that last minute we were just talking about.
Yes, something like that. Thanks for listening, people. I don't know quite how we got off on this episode, but we did.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We had an absolute blast. We talked about some good things. We had to cut some things tonight because we ran really, really late, the latest we've ever run. So we will. That's good because we have half an episode for next week already.
Makes my life a little easier.
Yes, exactly. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. All of our regulars who come out, Christopher Harris, and our buddy Magnum, and anybody else listening right now. We thank you so much for just hanging out, supporting us. We appreciate it. If you like what you hear, please come back. Please share us out. If you don't like what you hear, then
tell us. We'll adjust.
I'm bad with No, I'm not bad with. I was gonna say I'm bad with constructive criticism, so just fucking leave. I don't even want to hear it. But I'm really not though. I actually encourage constructive criticism. But I already know what you people are going to say. Don't talk about some of that shit you were talking about tonight. Yeah, I get it. We didn't mean to. It just happened, and then it spiraled out of control, and then...
The funny thing about it is right before the episode, you're like... Before we even launched the pre-stream, you're just like, we are not talking about that at all. And I was like, I completely agree. We're not. And then we did.
All right, yeah. You know what? I blame all the liquor I ingested tonight. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. We appreciate it greatly. You have no idea. We will see you next week, and just fucking remember.
What do you think this is all about? What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.